We have our next speaker up.
Anyways, how many people here want to do a pass flip but don't have the money? Now that you guys saw the presentation, you're like, man, I want one.
I want one now.
So the way I fund all my deals, by the way, I'm a real estate investor. I got started in real estate back in 2020, a little bit before COVID, and then COVID hit. I joined Sub2. How many people are here part of Sub2? Few. How many Gator? A couple Gators, and then what's the other one? TC?
Top tier.
Top tier. No top tiers here. Anyways, so I started back in 2020. I joined Sub2 thinking that I was going to be able to buy houses and just shoot fish in a barrel. I thought I was going to be able to the whole pitch was you could pay anything over the asking price as long as it cash flows. I'm like, this is going to be easy. I'm going to go on Zillow and I'm going to buy 10 houses every week. Well, it wasn't that easy. And then obviously you learn all the different things you learn about real estate. You got to do marketing, you got to do sales because people don't just sell you their house at 50% off. I'm like, what do you mean? I thought this thing was easy. So, anyways.
They told me it was easy.
Right? I learned the hard way, but eventually started doing deals. And right before I got into real estate, I almost started a credit repair company. So I got very deep into credit, business credit, and I was pretty hip to business funding. So when I started getting the opportunity to do deals, I just started funding my own deals. And I just happened to document everything on social media, Instagram, and I grew a little following, and everybody that follows me is like, man, you must have all the private money lenders in the world. And I'm like, I actually don't use private money at all. Like, I don't got time to be begging people for their money and explaining why they should gamble with me on this crazy deal. So I would just fund my own deals. And a lot of times I'll be using 0% funding rather than pay somebody whatever return they expect on their money. So I started funding my deals, and I've done wholesales, fix and flips. I've done pretty much everything you could do with a single family home, but Section 8, new ground builds, and long-term rentals. All the traditional stuff. I've never done that, but I've done subject twos, fix and flips. I've done land wholesale to big builders. The subject twos that we've bought, I've wholesaled some of those. I've kept most of them, and I've turned into either Airbnbs or cash splits. Airbnb was hotter when I first started back in 2020. Now the market is shifting, and cash split is looking a lot better than Airbnb. But Airbnb is still great if you have the right property. So Javier has the right type of properties that you need to be able to succeed in Airbnb. So Airbnb is still great. I still got all my Airbnbs and they're still doing great. So in any event, the way I funded them was with business funding. I use credit cards, lines of credit, loans, and here's the kicker where most people don't realize. All you really need to get funding is 720 credit score, and that's about it. You can maybe get some with 680, but now we're gambling and you might get denied. But if you got decent credit score, that's literally all you need to go get $100,000 or $200,000 in funding. I've been able to get all the way up to 900 and I don't know what, 950 or I don't know what it is, under my personal name. For a few of those accounts, I've shown bank statements. Mind you, when you have also banks don't care about your profit, they just care about your gross. So, for example, they said they make 300 grand. I'll bet money the profit is way further from that, right? Mm-hmm. But banks will be like, 300 grand. They'll freaking give you a bunch of money. So all they look at is just at your gross, and even then for a lot of accounts, they don't even check. So if you want to start getting into bigger lines of credit and whatnot, then they might start asking for bank statements. But once you have properties, revenues coming in, like we have the Airbnb revenue, we have all the mortgages, we got about 7 properties right now. So all in all, through our accounts, there's $300 or $30,000 to $50,000 coming in and out. And that's just from the portfolio. Real estate is probably not only the best way to use business funding, but it's also the easiest way to justify getting a lot of capital and making it easier. Like if you had some other little business that only makes a couple $1,000s a month, and it's like, I don't know, why would we give you money? But real estate is so easy to like put 50 grand in and 50 grand goes right back out. So it's just the money flows. In any event, I don't got a fancy presentation, but any questions? And I'm an open book. I could talk about requirements and all that kind of stuff, but the point is, as long as you got decent credit, the rest of the stuff that you might need, our company could set it up for you in under an hour, really. You technically need an LLC and a couple different things. The LLC will be set up correctly with a phone number, a website, and I have a whole checklist that I could share with you guys of like all the different things that you need to properly set up your business for
And
funding.
how do we get that?
If you text the word networking
Oh.
to 407,
Okay, just one second.
So.
Are we gonna have a automatic bot say something to us?
yeah, you should get an automatic
Do
text
you
back.
use
asking
your
for
own
name.
or ManyChat or some, or like?
I'm using Go High Level.
Is it possible to go back to the bank and get that changed without affecting, like reclassified for an existing account?
Usually, every time you apply for something, they will ask you for the classification,
Yeah.
and at that point, just change it. Definitely. So usually, if you have a 720, you have some kind of history. A lot of times, by you telling me the credit score, I kind of know what your history is. Like if you have a 750, you already gotta hit certain markers, so you're gonna be at 750. Get what I'm saying? If you're already in 680s, you might have one late payment, or you might just have high utilization. I usually recommend like let's get you set up on the business funding first, and then if you ever gotta tap into the line of credit because you're maxed out over here, then that's fine. You know, but doing it on the front end is gonna most likely lower your credit score, which then will block you from getting the business side. So,
And business side is mainly on your revenue.
what do you mean?
How do you estimate business capacity for a loan?
So they go based really on your personal credit. They don't go based on revenue. They'll ask your revenue and you can use projections, but 99% of the time they're going based on your personal credit. There's really three things that they'll use to give you funding. It's like a three-legged stool. You only need one leg, really. Either your personal credit, millions in receivable, think Apple. They don't have anybody personally guaranteeing with their credit. They're like, I'm Apple. Give me a credit card, right? And then the other one is assets, so collateralizing your money. Most people that are starting don't have anything to collateralize with, or don't have millions in revenue. So really, personal credit is 99% of what everybody will use. Business funding that's without a personal guarantee is a pipe dream. You're gonna hear a lot of people talk about it. There are net 30 accounts that you could get, vendor accounts, maybe at Home Depot, which can be useful for us real estate people. But 99% of the types of accounts that you could get without a personal guarantee are useless, in my personal opinion.
So you primarily just do business funding. If I brought you, say, a building with 100 doors and the cash flow is good, it's a new building, cap rate's good,
Yeah.
you don't finance it, you...
Not as of right now. We're building our company right now, and we're gonna build different products. But my vision is to build a funding coordination company, if you will. You got your transaction coordinators where you hand them the deal and they put it in your clothesline. My goal is to become the funding guy. Jimmy, here's the deal. I need to fund this. How are we gonna fund it?
Okay.
And that might require 90% hard money. Let's get you the other 10% refunding, or let's get you 5% from business funding. Let's get you private money lending because I have 100 gators behind me. So we're gonna be piecing together. That's how I fund all my deals.
You guys heard it here. He is the expert. If you're even just trying to think about doing it, don't waste your time. Spend the money, do it with them. Let's move fast. If you qualify. So.